For most of my life, I believed in family. I thought that no matter what happened, the people closest to me would always be there to protect and support me. But I was wrong. Family can betray you. And sometimes, the hardest choice you'll ever have to make is to walk away from the people who are supposed to love you the most. 2 moments shattered my world. The first was when I discovered my husband had been cheating on me for 3 years, with a woman barely older than our eldest daughter. He had fathered twins with her, and when I found out, he blamed me for his infidelity. The second was the night my stepmother slapped my fiancé's little brother, Luke, a child we had raised and loved like our own. My father stood by and did nothing, and when I confronted him, he chose her over us. Both times I was forced to make an impossible decision, and both times I chose to walk away. I had been married for 23 years. I thought we were happy. Sure, we had our disagreements, but never once did I think my husband would betray me like this. But one day, I received a message, a picture of 2 newborn babies, and a simple question. Ask your husband who these belong to. I confronted him, and he admitted everything. I wasn't planning for you to find out, but yes, they're mine. As if that wasn't enough, he blamed me. Said I had become too busy with our kids. Said I wasn't attractive anymore. Said it was my fault he had to seek affection elsewhere. It was like a knife to my heart. I filed for divorce. It was messy. Money, property, endless fights. But before it was finalized, everything changed. One night, I got a call. We're sorry to inform you, your husband and his mistress were killed in a car crash. I was in shock, but the next words hit even harder. The twin boys, they survived. They were orphans, and suddenly everyone expected me to take them in. My mother-in-law begged me. My own mother begged me. But how could I? Every time I looked at them, I saw his betrayal. I knew I couldn't love them the way a mother should, and my daughters, they hated those babies. To them, their very existence had destroyed our family. I refused. Instead, I set aside $25,000 for whoever became their legal guardian. I ensured they would be taken care of. But I knew I couldn't be their mother. People called me heartless, cold, selfish. Maybe I was. But I had to protect myself. I had to protect my children. I thought that was the hardest decision I would ever have to make. I was wrong. I had moved on. I found love again with Jane, an incredible woman who had taken in her little brother Luke after their parents passed away. Jane loved Luke like a son, and so did I. But my stepmother? She hated him from the start. She refused to acknowledge him as part of the family, ignored him at gatherings, made cruel comments disguised as jokes. It must be exhausting raising someone else's child. Are you sure you're not too young to be playing mother? I kept Luke away from her as much as possible. But then, one night, everything fell apart. Jane and I had an event to attend. My father volunteered to babysit. I hesitated, but he promised that my stepmother wouldn't be there. He lied. When we got home, we heard screaming. Then we heard Luke crying. I ran inside and saw my son crying in a corner. Luke was standing there holding his face, his lips split open and bleeding. And my stepmother was still yelling at him. Jane was right behind me. She froze for a second, then lost it. "What did you do to him?" she screamed. Luke wiped his tears and looked up at us. "She said, I'm not family. She said I can't be the ring bearer at your wedding." I started crying, and then she hit me. I turned to my father, begging him with my eyes to tell me this wasn't true, but he just stood there, silent. That's when I knew. He let it happen. Jane pulled Luke into her arms, whispering, "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry." I turned to my stepmother. My voice was shaking. "Get out of my house." She scoffed, rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. He's being dramatic." That was it. That was the moment I knew this woman was a monster. I looked at my father. If you don't leave with her, you are never seeing me again. He hesitated. And then, just like that, he chose her over me. We filed charges the next day. The police took our case seriously. We had nanny cam footage capturing her screaming at Luke. We had medical records. She was charged with child abuse. But because it was her first offense, she wasn't sentenced to jail. Instead, she received a restraining order. She was banned from coming near Luke, my family, or our home. My father was furious. You're ruining this family over a little misunderstanding. It was just a slap. Kids cry all the time, I told. He was no longer part of my life. Half my family took his side. My cousins, my uncles, even my own brother. They refused to believe she was capable of it. They boycotted our wedding. They called us ungrateful. They said Jane had manipulated me, that she was trying to turn me against my father. I had never felt so betrayed. But I did not back down. Jane and I got married. Luke walked down the aisle as our ring bearer, just like he had always dreamed. My father wasn't there. My stepmother wasn't there. Half of my family wasn't there. But we didn't need them. We had something better. I used to believe that family was everything, that blood meant loyalty. But I learned the hard way that family isn't about DNA, it's about love. My husband betrayed me, and his family expected me to clean up his mess. My father betrayed me, and my family expected me to forgive him. But I chose myself. I chose my daughters. I chose Jane. I chose Luke. I lost my husband. I lost my father. I lost an entire side of my family. But I gained something better. I built a family out of love, not obligation. A family that protects each other. A family that stands together. And for that, I have no regrets. Thank you for listening to the whole story. What do you think? Would you have made the same choices? Let me know in the comments.